Hi, I'm Paul Owers, the Media Relations Director for the Florida Atlantic University College of Business. Today I'm speaking with William Luther, an assistant professor of economics at the college. Our discussion focuses on the U.S. employment picture and the degree to which it could be impacted by the COVID-19 vaccine rollout. To read more about this topic from Professor Luther, visit business.fau.edu/news. Thanks for joining us today, Will. Before we discuss the latest unemployment numbers, can you tell us about unemployment prior to the pandemic and then explain how bad it was during the darkest days of 2020?
Sure. So if we go back to last January, unemployment was around 3.5%. And that was relatively low. So in the U.S., we tend to experience around 3.5% to 4% unemployment in relatively good times. Of course, by the end of February, we're looking ahead and seeing potentials for a shortfall in terms of economic activity. And certainly by mid-March, that was very clear. And during March and April, we lost 22 million jobs. So 22 million people who had been working were suddenly out of work. And so that was really the depth of the recession there in terms of employment.
Okay. Last week, the new unemployment numbers were released. What kind of progress has been made?
Well, we saw a lot of progress pretty quickly. So I said in March and April, we had this big loss of jobs. But after that, employment started to pick up, and it picked up quite quickly at first. And then in the time since, it's been relatively steady progress. And that makes a lot of sense, right? In March and April, there was a lot of uncertainty. We didn't really know what was going on. This virus was incredibly new to all of us, and we were just trying to figure out how to deal with that. And then once we had a better sense of what that virus looked like and how we might take some relatively simple steps to mitigate the spread of that virus, be it to shift from, say, eating at restaurants to eating at home, or wearing masks when we're out and about with strangers, or we're just keeping a safer distance. As we learned some relatively small steps we could take to limit the spread, then it became a little easier for us to return to producing valuable goods and services. And so many people were able to do that. Many, but of course not all of those people who had left employment were able to come back, and in part because some production processes just aren't very compatible with that way of producing. If you can only fit so many people in a restaurant at a reduced capacity, then you're not going to need as many waiters. If your bar has to close at 7 p.m., then you're not going to need to hire as many bartenders. And so some of those jobs have been reluctant to come back. So we saw that an explosion in employment there immediately after April, and pretty steady gains, but smaller gains in the time since. So we've added back about 12 million jobs. So we lost 22. We've added back 12. We're still about 10 million jobs down from where we were a little over a year ago.
Okay, going forward, is it a certainty that unemployment continues to fall, or are there some potential pitfalls along the way to a full recovery?
Well, I think that it's very likely that unemployment will continue to fall. The question is just how fast it will fall. This vaccine is rolling out. It's rolling out at a steady clip now. And so I think at some point we're going to hit herd immunity thanks to the vaccine. And at that point, we'll all feel much more confident going out and about and producing valuable goods and services. But when will that kick in? Will it kick in 2 months, in 3 months, in the fall? It's not like a sharp cutoff. It's a gradual change, right? Each day, as more people get vaccinated, the risk of interacting with others falls ever so slightly. And so our ability to produce improves ever so slightly. And so over the next few months, I would expect production to pick up, and with that production picking up, employment to rise as well. But we're just not quite clear at this point how fast that process is going to take place.
Thanks for joining us today, Will. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
What's Happening at FAU Business is part of the FAU College of Business podcast network. Learn more at business.fau.edu/podcasts.